Hello again. Oh my gosh, I don't know if you know this, but we got lost in the crossing just then. So our signal's been in and out, and we're very happy to be here. Can I just get a quick hello from everyone to make sure that your audio is being picked up?
Hello. I'm Keith.
Hello.
I'm saying hello.
Hi. This is Teo.
Hello.
I'm seeing that it's being picked up. Chat, please let us know.
Can you hear all of us this time?
No picture?
Well, that...
It is Death Fox.
Okay. Well, I can see the picture. Okay, good. We have audio. Thank you, Plastic Cage Plays. Okay. So, really quickly, we are Lost in the Crossing. A group is going to be playing through the new story path from Onyx Path Publishing, Legendlore, based on a comic series, and it's currently being kickstarted right now. It's actually over halfway, so like they might cancel us, but I don't think so. So we'll go a little around and tell you who we are, and then we'll dive into creating a game together and making some characters. So my name is Jen Vaughn. My pronouns are she, they, and I am a tabletop narrative designer and cartoonist over at Very Very Spaceship. I run another show called Big Dungeon Show, and like to bring on like just a diverse cast of people, and we play all sorts of indie one-shot games. And yeah, I'm very excited to have this like amazing crew of people with me. So I want to do Kika, would you like to go next?
Hi, I'm Kika. I am a role player here on Twitch. I play on a number of different streams. I also organize representation panels for conventions, and I design some small indie games. That's about it.
Logan, would you like to go next?
Sure, yep. I'm Logan, he, him pronouns, big tabletop nerd, play games, run games, and I write them as well on itch.
Excellent. Yeah, we'll make sure we throw in some links at the end of the show too, so people can find all the good stuff from all of you. Teo.
Hi, I'm Teo. Prefer he or him. I'm a comic artist, a story artist, cinematographer, and I make horror movies, genre films, and documentaries with my girlfriend under the company Haunted Soup Pictures. So, yeah.
I'm glad to have you. Bones.
All right, I'm Bones. I am a comic book writer / artist, and I also like playing D&D a lot. So I'm in the right place.
Heck yeah, absolutely. Yeah, so Legendlore, it's, yeah, as I hold up my fake manuscript version. I can't wait for this Kickstarter so I can get this beautiful, juicy, buttery one with pictures in it too. So the story behind Legendlore is that we are playing, we're going to be creating players who are then visitors. So we actually find some sort of portal and cross over into Azoth, or the realm, and then become our players become more magical versions of themselves. So you could have a human that just becomes a cooler human, or maybe turns into a harefoot or a pixie or an orc. And sometimes I would say like the races could embody a personality type, but honestly, it's up to everyone here and what you want to make. I think it's an interesting like concept because when we're doing these crossing, like when you cross over, there's no time or location. Like it doesn't, like not everyone's crossing from 2020. Thank God. But so we could run into people from like the 70s, or, people traveling from like Ireland, at the same time. And so I think it has like a lot of cool features in it that we can, use for narrative fun. Did any of you, did you want to talk about like maybe, actually maybe we should talk about like flavor of the game first and like some safety tips before we get into the character creation. Is that okay? So maybe that'll, yeah?
Yeah, sounds good.
Yeah, so I guess flavor-wise, I have brought you 2 visuals today, but there's many we could play. Like if you all want to do like more of a mystery game, more of like an epic adventure, or like more like goofy fun, we totally can. I mean, we only have 3 weeks, but like, for flavor, I have like this skull, which is like fun and colorful, or I have this skull. So just like, is there like a version of a skull you're feeling more towards, or they're both human? I'm sorry.
Can we have both skulls and they're both kind of mad at each other, but they both secretly want to kiss?
Oh, okay. I'm just write this down right now, Kika. Kissing. No. Yeah. So you feel more like, oh, looks like we lost Bones. I will. They'll call right back. I'll wait a minute before sliding everyone around. Yeah, there we go. So what do you like to play? Like, what have you played in the past? Like, I know this is only 3 weeks, so it's like, how epic can we get? But like, do you want to be like riding on the back of like a dragon, or?
I personally definitely I enjoy like a lot of like whimsy and kind of ridiculous situations, but I also like it all to be internally taken very seriously, if that makes sense.
Mm-hmm. I feel like we could do a missing person starting with Bones. So like that could be our first case.
Can you hear me at all?
We can hear you.
My camera won't change. I'm sorry.
It's okay. I like this idea that maybe you're this gray pillow that I'm seeing. So yeah, look at it, Teo. Like, we can. What do you like to play? I feel like, Teo, I've played with you multiple times, so it kind of.
Yeah, I think I always tend to play sillier characters, but I think that often is like more fun and even a serious toned game. So, but I mean, both sound good, but I mean, always whimsy's nice. So, if we're riding dragons in 3 weeks, I'm not mad. I don't know about anybody else.
Yeah, I also enjoy like some lighthearted stuff, but with serious moments in there as well. Like, what I really like is, I guess, and connection and intimate moments, and that can be over funny stuff or over like deep stuff. So I'm pretty easy.
How do you all feel about puzzles?
I love puzzles.
Okay.
Yes.
I'm down to help, but I think you guys will do the heavy lifting. Based on how you are.
Will there be a healthy dose of point and click adventure logic in this?
Oh, I mean, yeah, we could definitely. I could figure out some of. Yeah, point and click. Okay. Yeah, obviously it's a little hard to send like physical puzzles to all of you in time for the shows, and also lysoling them up a bunch. So, but yeah, maybe we could work on a little bit of that.
We live in the same city.
Yeah, well, that's Kika. Yeah, I could just send them all to you, and then you have to solve all of them and explain.
If you send me puzzles, I will solve them all.
No, sorry, I just should ask because I've made people solve puzzles, and like at some point they kind of all like look at me and go, another one, and I'm like, oh, I'm sorry, like, because I prefer like what are those? The 3 pillars are exploration, social interaction, and combat. But I kind of like to think of it as more like conflict, and it could be like solving something together, or find the dramatic reveal at a fashion show. So like it's I guess sort of something that I like to do, but also like if you're just like, no, we want a straight up murder dungeon, then I'm like, I will build that for you. Like
I mean, I think like some murder dungeon's always fun, but if there's puzzles in there too, it's like I think we'll all be pretty satisfied at some level. So
also puzzles and
murder puzzles.
Murder puzzle. Yeah. Murder puzzle.
Murder the puzzle, yeah.
Got it. I'll use the intestinal gore, and there'll be a puzzle in there. It'll be like
bones.
Is this a word find? A word wander? Awesome. I can send you all the PDF, but I was thinking that we could, we'd use the safety toolkit made by, where we use the X, N, and O cards, so that way we can have communication, and we could also do it through chat as well if you'd like, but just visually holding up a card. So like X, if we approach some sort of something that is like we want a hard stop, and for something that you want me to like slowly get away, like curtain pulls back, or like a boulder kind of like passes in front of the scene and it's a different scene, and then the O card for when I'm like checking in on you. But I also like to ask people what their lines and veils are, so we can talk about that off camera though as well. But like as an example, I was playing a bug druid that did a lot of gross stuff and like would rip up out of my character when I would change in when I would change into my druid form, and like people didn't like it, but they didn't let us know ahead of time they didn't like bugs. So I was like, oh no, I would have played a different character. Like I felt terrible to like make them feel bad. And then also I lost the spell slot. So it was just like, oh no, like so but yeah, like again, we're probably gonna play more like a PG-13 game as well, just so like more people can watch and enjoy. But like, sorry, I feel like I'm talking a lot. So like if you want to like just like come in and yell at me or talk, like we can.
I mean, like I think like more like Raiders of the Lost Ark rather than like Temple of Doom, if that makes sense. I don't know about anybody else. Maybe not, or maybe like some smidge of Last Crusade. I don't know, but just some whimsy. But yeah, it's interesting. Veil's tough because it's like everybody's different. So yeah, it's cool. I like that part. That's part of this game. I think it's cool to have this conversation as like a mechanic. I think that's very cool.
Yeah, but we can also, if there's something that happens in the story, like you can, do a full stop and we can like go back and redo a scene. Like it's all about like making sure you all are comfortable, and also me constantly checking in on you as well, which is a little bit more difficult in the digital age because you're kind of like, I'm making eye contact with you, but you're not. So it's like, okay. Yeah. So speaking of Raiders of the Lost Ark and stealing treasures from people's lands, that's kind of a cool part about Legendlore is that like because there's humans crossing from Earth into the realm, they leave a lot of their trash there or their stuff, then become like these like strange objects that people can find and use, and like have societies that like are built up around like a walkie-talkie that occasionally catches a signal or something. So yeah, I'm excited to play with that. So yeah, why don't we and but there's one other thing, I guess at the end of every episode off camera, but so everyone else knows, I like to do I think in the safety toolkit they call it stars of wishes. I call it like roses and thorn buds, but pretty much the same thing. It's like all the players will give each other a compliment, or at least one compliment, and then let me know as a game master something that could have that bothered them, or if there was a better way, like if they have an idea of a better way something could have been handled. Perfect. Yeah, just so I can be a better game master for you all moving forward. Yeah, and obviously if you don't want to show up the next time, that's you just yeah, well, let's dive into this book then, if that's a a little bit do you want to start with yeah, you're like, let's go, like get to the meat. No. Or get to the what do we call it, Kika? Sloppy foes for the vegan sloppy joes.
Yeah.
Yeah, so I guess do you all do you want to sort of create your character post crossing and then the challenge of creating them pre-crossing in their like boring human form, because
they'll probably inform each other and you'll probably start getting an idea hand in hand.
Yeah. Do you want to like start off like
concept already thought up?
Hit us, Kika.
I wanted to play a pre-transition trans woman high school student who turns, like when they cross over, turns into a pixie alchemist.
Ooh.
But if anyone else wants to play alchemist, I'm fine with that. The class is the part that I'm like the most flexible on.
I think we had someone else that mentioned alchemist. Oh, I will say in this new book, there are multiple subclasses for some of these classes. So alchemist had 4 different ones that you could play. Just gonna slide over to them.
I am honestly in like a mental tie between alchemist, the bard subclass that they had added in here, and the what was it? the white unicorn fighter.
Yeah.
And doing a pixie like knight would be very fun.
I feel like I'm just going to talk about everything that I like if I were a player. So like, feel free to interrupt. Like, Teo, you mentioned you were looking at Alchemist too, right?
Yeah. There was some form. I thought Alchemist sounded fun. Just because like, I like that you just throw potions. I think it's fun to like burn a spell slot to just like craft one. I think that's kind of fun. So.
If you were playing the mutagen crafter Alchemist. Yeah. Because there are a couple other. There's a homunculus creator, poison taster, which I was like, yes. Like you
I was looking at the poison taster for sure. Yeah. And then there's also bomb maker.
Yeah. Which.
Yeah, I had some idea of like being like an anarchist bomb maker, but I don't know if that's too on the nose.
There's nothing wrong with that. Teo, you could play yourself as the visitor and then
go for it. I fully support your messy chaos, child.
I was also looking at the Bard College there. That looks super cool to me. And I was looking at Pixie as well, just because I want to be able to fly. That's the end of my logic.
Pals.
Yes, let's do it. Trans Pixie Pals. Let's go.
I fully support, like, again, oops, all pixies. Like, I'm into it. Like,
we could both be bards and we could just aggressively try to start a band in every town we visit.
That would be awesome. Just recruiting.
Yeah, so the Bard College in here, Baccaroon is it sort of invests itself in like magical runes and symbols that you paint on the body and invoking that magic. So it's like it feels like that goes hand in hand with the flying pixie too, like
super cool,
traditional, like, or old European stuff, like not traditional, but yeah, that could be real beautiful.
And I love. Sorry, I was gonna say I love tattoos as well. So like the idea of like painting imagery on your body is very cool to me.
Yeah, absolutely.
I am kind of drawn to it because of my own like Norse-based spiritual practice.
Yeah.
Honoring my ancestors and all that.
Yeah, that sounds great. There's also I believe the Druid option, if I recall, that has a
Druid of Fantasia.
Yeah. Where they can no, I'm thinking of some. No, sorry. Well, Druid of Fantasia sounds super cool because it's like you can sort of like pull energy from the animals and nature around you, but not in like a creepy necromantic way. She says like with her all black wardrobe. I mean, it's so creepy.
There was a barbarian path that had runes.
That's right. Yeah. Yeah, that included activating dead ones too, which I thought was very interesting. Felt very video game-esque, sort of like, oh, what's this? Am I in the witness? Awesome. Like over and over.
Just a general note, I also love that like one of the warlock patrons is the last unicorn.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, that's awesome.
Yeah. So there were 2 unicorn-based subclasses. There's the last unicorn, which is like, that goes around and is like one of the oldest beings and like occasionally shows up. But you have to be sort of like a good warlock in that case because they only like help those that are so like pure in intention and all that. But then like the fighter that you mentioned, Kika, that like are dressed in like all like pearlescent or opalescent tabards and riding white horses with silver helms. Like you can't go wrong with that either. Like, because then we have to, either you or I would have to make the horse noises. So
you can play my horse. If you want to roleplay my horse, I am so down for playing White Unicorn and just being a pixie on a horse.
Do you get a pixie horse, or is it just a massive horse and you're this tiny pixie on top of it?
Oh,
both are great. Can you? Do you ride like a unicorn though? Could you ride on the horn? I'm going.
It's a white horse with just but they do have like a silver like helmet on to make them look like a unicorn. But now I'm thinking about Kika being a super buff pixie and a really small pony, and just clamping on with thighs and like making them into a Pegasus or an alicorn. Like, All right, well, Bones, we've been letting you laugh and chortle over here. And like, what are you thinking about?
Well, the 2 I sent you an email, but the 2 I've been like kind of going back and art, which is between gunslinger. I never played a gunslinger or a tinkerer or anything like that in any of the games. And then a cleric. And the only reason is because I really like the aesthetic of the cleric in this with the eyes. And I was just like, that could be so cool to just draw a ton of fan art of my character. So that's,
I mean,
100% aesthetic.
yeah, I thought it was interesting you were looking at gunslinger and cleric, because in this world, in this book, they're very opposite. Like the Oath of Osiris, Eye of Osiris clerics forego violence. Like they don't use magic, or so you'd be like sidestepping things, just be like, oh no, I'll heal you, like kind of pushing like political power. I don't know, I think you're froze. Well, I'll tell you all. Yeah, they forego violence, and same for using a lot of magic to like problem solve. So it's more like, using your words and stuff, which is great. But then there's gunslinger, which I feel like, we kind of know what guns do, but they have 3 subclasses, and I know how to say them all. There's a musketeer that uses like a 2-handed gun. There's pistoliers, so using like, small pistols in their hands. And then there's, oh no, Bones, we'll get you back. And then there's the one that I definitely, again, know how to say, culverinier. So you'd have like a chunky hand cannon. So and we could imagine that, Bones will, yeah. We can imagine that is either like just a big honking like short pistol, or like a corsage, or like a hand crossbow. So just like a small cannon like on your forearm. So worlds upon worlds of possibilities. But these would all be also like strange objects that were left from people that, were visiting from Earth and stuff. So if Bones chooses to do gunslinger, we can kind of work that in, or maybe be there for the discovery of it too. So
I'm back. My camera for some reason has decided to stop working.
That's okay. You can keep it off for now. That's fine.
All right.
So yeah, we're just talking about the 3 types of gunslingers. Did one of them seem more interesting to you than the rest? Musketeer, pistolier.
Honestly, the two gun, the pistol. Oh wait, let me pull it up. It was like the pistol version of it.
Yeah, the pistolier.
Yeah. Mainly because if anybody's ever seen the 3 Caballeros with Donald Duck, I really always liked the pistol duck or the pistol parrot.
Awesome. Yeah, we were saying that we would have to be like a found object or a strange object from Earth. So maybe we could even, I don't know if it'd be like hidden on your person when you do the crossing, or you find it. We could.
Yeah.
So you've
for items for the crossing, can it really be anything, or are there any limitations, or is that just like part of the fun?
Yeah, it's a little bit like Narnia, where it's like, oops, a puddle, I've fallen. Like, so
yeah, I wasn't sure if there was this like, I saw like mirror a few times written, so I wasn't sure if it's like, is it like I look into my cup of coffee? Could it be that? I don't know. Is it like?
Yeah,
I guess you have to have fun with it.
Yeah, I don't know if physical size might matter though, or we could play with that ourselves. But like, because all the examples that I've seen were also like things you could fully walk into. It wasn't just like you looked into it and then your like spirit went into the world. So yeah, we could set a system of rules though. So I guess that's actually the big story too, is like, do you all want to go home? I think is something that might be like the bigger arc. And like, does that mean you'll be looking for a crossing to get back? Because sometimes they're one way, or a lot of them are one way. Sometimes they're guarded by people.
Would we all be using the same crossing, or would we each like arrive via our own individual crossings?
I was thinking about having you all use the same crossing, but it might be fun to like intro you each separately and like finding each other and stumbling upon one another. Not stumbling, but oh, hello there. I too know what the metro is. Like, what do you think? Would you rather all already know each other sort of in game?
We can also know each other, but also individually end up.
True.
which could imply some sort of supernatural intent in bringing us specifically.
Mm-hmm. The weirdest Evite.
I enjoy having pre-established like character relationships and connections that you can play with. But yeah, I also like the idea that Kika said about knowing each other, maybe separately crossing as well, and being like, okay, this is weird that of all the people that this strange phenomenon happens to, it's us that already know each other, and we all end up here. So that can be a fun thing to explore as well.
Thank you. These are the notes I'm looking for. Were there any other classes that were appealing to you? Obviously, there's, as we mentioned jokingly, no ranger, just a single tier. But there's a couple of monks, like Bones, if you decided to go with your cleric, with the Eye of Osiris, this beautiful female goddess, there'd be some cool tension if you ever meet a monk from the same from the Fist of Osiris, because they're sort of like the punching out their to-do list really fast, but with their fists, and sort of there's a lot of tension between the monks and the clerics because of that.
Ooh.
And I'm not trying to create drama from nothing.
I'm here for it.
There's also we talked about the warlock with the last unicorn, but then there was also like our evil warlock, the demon of the Shadowlands, which was appealing to me because you don't know why they want you.
Yeah, I wanted to know more about that. I'm sorry, I was just interrupting you when you were telling me what I wanted to know. Sorry.
No, I was like, I know what Taya's into. No, but like part of the reason, part of the fun is that you don't know, why they're giving you this power, and like, because they come from this land where time means nothing, which again, shockingly sounds too familiar to all of us right now. But, and they would require something of you, and I know they kind of, the Legendlore writers made this demon seem like it would come after you, way more often than ones in like a regular D&D campaign where they're like, hunting.
I would definitely do that if somebody else wants to be an alchemist. If Kika, if you wanted to be an alchemist, I would totally just play. I'll just lock in right now and say demon of the Shadowlands. That sounds super fun. It's got to figure out what's the like most ironic person to have that connection and build that. Reverse engineer it. Sounds super fun.
Have to have an alchemist.
I mean, if it's
I say that only to express how horribly on the fence I am about everything class-wise.
Right. Well, I'll just talk about some of the other stuff while you sort of think about it, and then also I'm checking to see if Bones has joined their session again, so I need to slide everything around again.
Oh, okay. Sorry.
That's okay. I'll play with this really bad. There's a cool a sorcerer. So all the magic in fix this while I'm here. All the magic in the realm is from a pool that's that sort of radiates. And there's a sorcerer called the Sourceborn that's where all their power comes from. And it's there's a cool system of like tiring yourself out using and acquiring like Menthorak points. So you can actually, so it's not just about like using spell slots, it's also about like having a physical toll on your body. Which I thought was, made sense or would be interesting.
Just like life.
Yeah. Talking about spoons. I'm just gonna fix these while you all talk.
I'm back.
Yay!
Yeah, welcome back.
Kind of interesting for my character concept because what I was kind of thinking of for this character would be kind of like a process of self-discovery and moving from a very reserved to a very expressive self. And that mechanic could also very nicely mirror, like, sort of pushing yourself out of your own comfort zones. And, you know, how it's ultimately good, even though it's very exhausting.
Yeah.
I like that because so far all I had decided was like I kind of want to play teenage voice so I can crack my voice every once in a while, like, "Hey guys, how's it going?" You know. And
So are we all going to be high schoolers?
I'm happy to do that.
I'm in. I mean, that sounds fun. Or I could be like your substitute teacher.
Oh, Taya.
We brought the teacher along.
Yeah. That's like a Mrs. Frizzle. Or no, what was, I feel like
Razzle.
that's like a Razzle. Yeah.
Miss Frizzle.
She was their full-time teacher, though.
Yeah, I know. It'd be a weird off episode where a warlock comes in as your substitute teacher.
I love that. There'd be like a sort of a drama with or not drama, but like a, you know, you trying to relate to the rest of them, and they're all just like, okay, God, this guy, like,
I'm
You're
just
like,
an average warlock.
trying to teach them a lesson. They're like, no, thanks. Like,
Put a video on.
if you
Put a
do
video on,
substitute teacher, I only request that you use like memes and stuff, but like old ones.
Oh.
And
Trying to-
use them,
trying to be cool.
completely wrong.
You guys ever heard about banana phone or like peanut butter jelly time? Just like that old, or like
Oh,
alien
Trying
audience?
to relate, like I can relate to you kids.
what?
Hey,
How do you
kids,
do,
it's time
fellow
to-
kids?
It's
Yeah,
time to peanut butter. It's peanut butter jelly time to get a move on.
oh boy, that is very.
That hurts.
Is it me or is it chocolate writing over here? Yeah,
Oh no.
yeah.
Oh gosh, you just
Teo, I feel
bring
like
up
you've written the best thing in the world. So
Ah, well,
I'm just gonna
I'm
write
okay
down-
with it.
I'm just gonna write
Good.
substitute teacher
Sorry.
if that's something you do want to do, because it.
Yeah, no, that actually, that sounds
Yeah.
fun. There's
I was like,
just
that is
something.
It's sort of the point of this is to start making
yeah.
decisions,
It's like
but
I'm in. No, it's nice because I'm in. I got to pick a topic. I don't know. Am I a gen ed substitute teacher or am I like a specific? I don't know.
oh, Teo, please, like any substitute teachers, they have like 5 things they have to teach. You know that, right? Like,
yeah. True.
yeah. It's like the theater sub is also like the English and the history sub. Never gym though. Like gym is always like government or, you know,
Yeah.
for some reason.
Yeah.
You do
Hmm.
need to pick your like secret passion subject though.
Jim.
Trying to switch streams.
Physical education. Got it. All right. All right. Cool. So that could maybe inform the race you're playing too a little bit. Like you could
Ooh, that'd
keep
be
it. I'm sorry. No, go ahead.
Oh no, that would be fun. I was just agreeing. It's like, let's think about it.
I mean, like, because you could like, you could totally just keep it steady and be like a human, but just like stronger and like has the ability to do more cool gym tricks. Is what I'm gonna call it.
Jim tricks.
Parkour.
That'd be funny.
Yeah, but you could also.
I was also looking at some of the background stuff and just thinking about teacher. If we did move away from Jim, a historian might work if he's like a history teacher, because I think that would just like, I could that feels like that'll be useful and could be helpful for the narrative. So
Plus,
Yeah,
history
no.
teachers always have all the best and worst jokes.
yeah.
The other one I was gonna say was playing an orc might be fun too. Misunderstood, but actually like, you know, smart and
That'd be
Strong.
funny. I mean, I'm in that. I like that too.
Yeah.
I was a human before, and then when I came over, I'm like, I'm an orc now, right? That's
Yeah,
easy.
unless you want to like create some sort of like physical power dynamic where like you become a half foot or something. So you're like a dwarf. So you're like shorter than like the rest of all your students too, which is, like that happens. That's real.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
Unless the rest of us are pixies.
that's what's true. That's true.
We're just a very small party.
Everyone's just everyone just dragged the corner and like pulled it in. Yeah.
Oh, but then you would be like the only one who can't fly, and you'd be trying to like herd these like flying little children all over the place.
Just doing circles above your head.
I mean, I think there's something funnier about staying human, because it's like the cross. I didn't change too much. I just now have magic powers that you know what I mean. Like that was it. It's like I'm in on that.
It's like you cross over and you suddenly get like a slightly curlier mustache.
Yeah. I like it.
You bring up a good thing we haven't talked about yet is backgrounds too. Was there a background that anyone was feeling particularly pulled towards that could help inform your character? I know Kika, you already,
High school student, yeah.
Yeah.
I found the fact that role-playing aficionado... Sorry, what was that, Bones?
So do you mind going over the backgrounds? I remember liking one, but I can't pull up the PDF right now.
Oh, yeah. Sorry, Logan, did you want to talk about one that you liked first before I go over all in case?
Oh, yeah. So the role-playing aficionado, I found that funny that it was there and interesting to sort of play with. And the whole, the meta-knowledge ability that you have, I can see that being very fun to play with, and having a character just sort of like overthink everything and being like, we're in a role-playing game, and then anything going bad, just like shaking their fist at the sky and yelling at like an uncaring GM or something.
That would be great. That would be
yeah, or like tripping and being like, not my fault, someone rolled a 2, and just like trying to pass it off.
Yeah,
that could be fun.
You'd be really popular with the Realmborn. They're like, this one talks funny. So yeah, but no, I love that one. That could be a lot of fun. Yeah, so there's a variety. There's for people that want to play the game, there's they provide a lot of backgrounds and feats for the visitors, which we will be playing in this game, and also the Realmborn, which is actually being played on Fridays at 2 p.m. Eastern, earlier on the show, or earlier in the day on this channel. So if you want to watch one that's mostly Realmborns, you can go watch that one. But you should watch both, I guess is what I'm saying. So, sorry, Bones. So there's a bunch actually, and they're pretty fun. Well, first I say pretty fun, then I mean like the working poor. So, so, you could play off the fact that like now that you're in the realm, you have all these like trinkets on you and these like this sort of stuff that like you could maybe use to like make more money within the realm. You could play it from that angle, or maybe it changes your character, like they want to stay in this realm where like certain opportunities might be easier to come by. So there's the writer, which I feel like you would do pretty well with as your writer. Not that you have to. So yeah, and this you could use the realm as sort of like a form of inspiration. Urban, so living in the city, which you also do, I guess. But yeah, so like not to pull from like real life, but I moved from Texas that was just always on fire, so it was beef and bullets everywhere, to Vermont. And I felt like I was breathing for the first time, because I was just like, what is this smell? Is this oxygen? Is this greens? So like, I feel like that if you were playing an urban character going and crossing over to this land of like no cars and, beautiful trees and stuff, you would just constantly being enamored with like the smells and like the magic in the air. So they're self-educated. So, coming up with your own version of like support networks and stuff, and like, being able to assess situations pretty fast. So you'd probably be a pretty fast learner on how to do well within the realm compared to some of these other backgrounds. You'd be able to adjust pretty fast. Role-playing aficionado, like Logan said, rural upbringing, so farm life. Again, like, I don't know if you have a rural background, but also, yeah, like Right. So yeah, you might also do really well in the realm because you know, you maybe had to like kill chickens back on your farm or so, you know, you did a lot of yeah, like homesteading and like not survivalist stuff necessarily, but like, you know, you're used to taking care of yourself and others. So like this would just be like more of the same. So it'd be kind of like a jaded background possibly. Are any of these sounding fun so far or
I mean, yeah, honestly, I love all of them. I wrote down writer though, just because I thought that sounded fun.
Yeah. Yeah, if you all wanted to play, the three of you wanted to play high school students, like we could like play around with the background because that is a background, but we could play around with it so that way you have variations on it as well. Too, if you wanted to like combine some backgrounds, because there's also a cultist, which is
I
fun.
do like a cultist
Who does a little bit. Activist, which I feel like is obviously very important. So you would be able to point out the injustices within the crossing and humans leaving their trash. Although sometimes it's one person's trash and another person's treasure. Academic background, so that could also work for another high school student because they could be the teacher's pet, which then I assume Teo would find very annoying. No.
Oh, teachers' pets in my classroom. You're all punks.
You could do born into wealth. There's also entertainer, so you'd be the class clown. Artist, again, I feel like you know what that is. So there's also what's the other one? Faithful. So a religious person that would be probably very interesting if you were a very religious person on Earth and then became a cleric of a goddess of a different god accidentally when you crossed over into the realm. So, like,
I kind of like that.
What kind of thoughts would you have in your head? Like, would you know this goddess exists versus just like belief in like previous gods? Like,
Yeah. I'll have to think about it.
Yeah. All right, Logan, or anyone else, please. Yeah.
I'm sort of. I think I want to go with role playing aficionado just because that sounds like so much fun, and really meta. So yeah, I'm thinking pixie bard role playing aficionado is my combo at the moment, using the Baccaroon subclass.
Yes.
Nice. Yeah, I think I'm going to go with historian and warlock, demon of the shadows lands as a human substitute teacher.
You do not have to play as a human. Like that's.
No, I think it'll be fun. I think it makes it more fun. And also, if you guys are all pixies and other things, it'll be.
Of course, the substitute teacher is a human. He's so boring.
Yeah. I love it because even like role playing aficionado, you could still like we're just aging them down. So if you want, so yeah. Oh, man. Yeah, the bard too that could play into like, maybe the instrument you have for band or orchestra becomes a magical version. Or were you thinking about a certain type of instrument?
I was kind of thinking of what with the subclass being sort of all about drawing and paint, maybe being that sort of bard, like a visual arts type bard. Maybe I'm in art class a lot, or that's my favorite class at school. And I have maybe some like a little palette of paints that I carry on me, and when I cross over, they become magical in some sort of way, and that's how I use my spell components. So I like draw, paint in the air to do spells and that kind of thing. Just leaning in with the subclass there.
That doesn't sound beautiful at all, Logan. Like, I love it. Hell yeah. All right, you'll be our visual art bard. Dang. Yeah. Ooh. Kika, how are you feeling? Like,
I already have my character made. What are you talking about?
Sorry, I didn't know if you'd made your decision between the fighter or the alchemist.
I went with the sorcerer.
Oh, the sorcerer. I'm sorry, the sourceborn. All right.
Yeah.
Are we pixie pals?
Yeah, we're pixie pals. Arcane Artificer looks pretty cool too.
Okay. Yes. If I was playing this game, I would be an Arcane Artificer. I feel like a wizard. Do you want to describe what their focus is, Kika?
It would probably be a base.
A base? Oh, okay.
Yeah. It would be like it'd be like one of those situations where they like got like a really crappy base from like a thrift store and they can like barely play it, but they're like really enthusiastic about it.
Yeah. The Arcane Artificer is, since you're a wizard, instead of having a wizard book, you focus your spells and they sort of shape the magic you have based on that object from Earth. So I think the example was like you could, if your arcane or if your strange object was a lighter, you would do a lot of fire-based spells. Versus like if you had camera, then you could do like blind using the flash. So it's sort of like it would inform the spells that you pick, and then like how you would describe them too would be sort of influenced by that object. That's like those tight creative boundaries. I'm like, oh yeah, saliva everywhere. I'm so excited. So wait, it sounds like you're creating a pixie band now.
That is my goal. I'm just going to be a pixie band.
I
could have like one of those one-man band setups. With, like the drum on my back and like the cymbals between my knees.
Oh my gosh. Bones, are you feeling pixie? You do not have to. You can do whatever you want. So.
I mean, that was like the one thing where I was just like, okay, I think I'm settled on. I want to be a writer and a cleric. I have no idea what race I want to go with.
Did you read
I was
through
trying to think of something that
flavors for the races? I'm sorry. Did you read through the flavor texts and stuff for the races?
No, I actually didn't get to the races. I had read, I guess I started in the wrong order.
I mean, that's what we're here for. Like, yeah, because there's like, were you thinking of a certain one, Kika?
I was just, the really interesting thing about like this setting is like all your like standard fantasy races are present, but they're different from what you expect, and they feel more fleshed out and more just generally relatable, which is really neat. So that might color your choices for race.
Yeah, and it's not like biology equals culture with them as well, so it's
a
little bit nicer.
For example, in this, like the elves are very much into like personal freedom and independence, and that ends up getting expressed in their culture in various ways. Like they, as a culture, are very much against like enchantment spells and the like, because you are basically taking away someone's free will when you do that. That's just
okay.
Just one example.
Was there any extra flavor on like the tiefling? That's usually just like my go-to race. Of like, I really like the tieflings.
So there's no tieflings in this. I will tell you what the races are. Yeah. I prefer if we stick to the ones in the book right now, but that doesn't mean it can't happen. So there's dwarves, Bryson, I believe it's called. Bryson trolls, elves, harefoots, humans, orcs, and pixies. But I feel you, Bones. Tieflings are my go-to as well. I'm like, just let me be a gargoyle, like every time. Thank you, Greg Wiseman. Like,
I just love it.
So I guess if you're playing, because you're talking about maybe doing the religious background.
Or doing the cleric but being a writer.
A cleric but a writer, yeah. Well, there was a storytelling aspect with the it was the dwarf, like they're sort of known for their storytelling, so that as like a people, it's like a tradition. So that could possibly be great for your character, because like people would be looking at you and be like, oh, maybe they tell good stories, and if you were sort of shy on Earth about sharing your work before it's done. Who's ever, no one acts like that. Yeah. You kind of be forced to like, yeah. There's an example. But yeah, there's. Yeah. All right. So it sounds like we have, oh my God. This is so, okay. We have a human substitute teacher who is a historian. All right. No, sorry. I'll let you all. Okay. Have you thought about a name, Teo?
I think it should be really boring, like Kent Douglas.
Oh, 2 first names. How dare you?
Perfect.
But I didn't think too much. I mean, I didn't think too much about it yet, so that there might be a small alteration to that. But I think 2 first names is really funny to me. Maybe a third. I don't know.
That's a serial killer, but yeah, let's do it. Yeah. Okay.
Oh no, is it? Oh no, I can do a different name.
No,
I don't want to be a serial killer. No.
It can be something your students always bring up. Whatever.
No, the other Kent Douglas.
So yeah, you're thinking of a substitute teacher who's a historian background and becomes a demon of the Shadowlands, a warlock. Oh man.
I feel like he's never been empowered until he crossed over. I feel like he just kind of like followed the path from like student to academic to teacher, and I think he was just kind of like accepted it. He probably just said yes to everything. He like let other he always just like follow along with what other people said. So once he crossed over, he's like now has the first opportunity to kind of make his own decisions, I think. And that's probably where this character, he might not want to go back because this obviously is way more interesting than being a substitute teacher. So I'm curious to see how that plays out in three episodes.
That's super cool.
All right, Kent Douglas. TBD.
Is it also can we like be on a bus when we go over? I feel like that's just like too. Could we be on a field trip when we transition or when we move over to a crossing, or is that because I wasn't sure if we agreed to like doing it all at the same time, or if it was individual.
I think we're all leaning more towards individual, but you all know each other, so you will be on a bus for sure.
Cool. Yeah, I did the public transit. I'm the only one. The last bus of the night.
Yeah.
Fall asleep and you wake up in the crossing. Oh no.
Yeah, absolutely. Oh man, you really just want to do this Miss Frazzle, but boring, which is like the reverse of what she is.
Frazzle. Yeah, I know.
Living for it. All right. Yeah, sorry, I asked you about the name already, but yeah, I think I found one of your old character sheets the other day. It was like Bog Snodgrass or something.
Udon Bogsnog.
Udon Bogsnog. Yeah. So I was just like, yes, dude. When I was moving, I wouldn't like keeping it like this is a sacred treasure.
No, of course. I always find old articles from previous adventures when I move. You're like, oh, I still have this, like this binder. Funny.
All right. So Kika, you're thinking of a pixie sourceborn sorcerer and your background as high school student?
Yeah, something like that. Either that is Sourceborn, or maybe an arcane artificer, or maybe a rogue or something.
Oh, okay, so just maybe a rogue. Okay, let's talk about No, that's what we're here for. We're here to talk about all this. But I just like that. I was just like, did you make a decision? You're like, yeah, it's already been done and dusted. Stop asking me. So there's one roguish archetype. Yeah, this was the hidden shadow one, which Masters of Silent Death. When I wrote you the emails, I almost put farts, but I was like, don't do it. Like, so yeah, they sound kind of terrifying, actually. Like,
yeah, I think maybe that's for a different game, honestly.
But that could work really well with a high school student too, right? Like everyone's terrified of them, especially your substitute teacher. And maybe like your weapons are actually like sarcasm or something. And also a blade, but like, like
I was
got a sharp wit.
I was like thinking that this character would like be very different like the second they cross over though.
Ooh.
Like they probably are like a very reserved kind of like gothy type before going over, and then like the second they're over, like they're a pixie and they don't have dysphoria anymore, and they just like come out of their shell very quickly suddenly because of that. And so I was hoping to do a class that would lean more towards like a more outgoing type. So like everyone would like also be like very suddenly exposed to the side of this character that they had like never seen before.
Mm-hmm. Okay. Well, yeah. That might, I feel like more outgoing, like if you were still considering the white unicorn fighter, I mean, you'd be flash up to the cash, like with that horse with the silver helm, and like always keeping your like clothing like in perfect condition. Or if you went by the way,
but I also like my characters to be kind of messy.
Yeah. I mean, also good.
I do think Sourceborn works though.
Sourceborn, yeah. Yeah, the Menthorak, that creating or also known as mind lock, that you'll be keeping track of as well, like how much you're actually able to, like the amount of magic you're able to pull from the pool of magic, that could create some sort of fun group dynamic, or not fun. Well, yeah, but it's just kind of like it'd be something that you have to manage, and like, depending on your character, you could play it up if you want, or you could be, very like on the ball about getting your rest and everything. So I'm trying to think if there's anything else we didn't talk about class wise. I guess we there's a paladin. Everyone loves playing paladins, right? Is that just me?
I like paladins.
Okay, sorry.
Paladins.
The paladin, the Oath of Fealty. It was interesting because you would take an Oath of Fealty to one of the nations in the realm, so of which there are several. So you kind of like suddenly be granted a lot of knowledge about the area, which could be, interesting and helpful to the group. I want to keep
like a Matrix download.
Yeah, exactly. You just like put on your pauldrons. You're like, I know everything. And they did have a cool channel divinity called Judgment of the Crown, where you get to like imbue a weapon with like some magic. So, but not that there aren't magical weapons in this already, but like you turn a mundane object into a sword. So pretty interesting. But yeah, again, there's we talked about that. There was also the Ocean Raider, which was another one like the Paladin, a barbarian called an Ocean Raider, who would then be part of one of the local navies. So again, it was another sort of subclass where you would then be granted a lot of knowledge. And like the rogue, people would fear you because the Ocean Raiders are known for because they've been living on the ocean. They can breathe for a long time underwater, so they would like drown people by dragging them and just waiting. Which I was like, whoa, intense! Like
that's brutal.
Yeah,
that's brutal.
Yeah, but it's fun because you
like the. Sorry, I was gonna say, I could see like if there was a in the high school theme, the star swimming student becoming the Ocean Raider.
Yeah, exactly.
There.
Yeah, and they're like, I haven't killed anybody. What are you talking about? Like, yeah. All right, so
I didn't kill them. Their inability to hold their breath did.
Mm-hmm. I can't help it if they fell on this sword. Yeah. So, Logan, are you you are thinking the pixie and we're settled on Bard for sure?
Yes.
Baccarat?
Yeah.
Okay, awesome.
Yeah, I think I'm gonna stick with that.
Yeah, it's a beautiful idea. So so would you think that maybe on the Earth side, your high school student was the person that made like all the OC drawings for their D&D or RPG group? Like
Yeah, as the designated artist of the role-playing group, does everyone's art. Maybe the GM like strong arms them into doing maps sometimes. stuff like that. I reckon, yeah. But like has to do like a bunch of maps so that they forget any of the pertinent details, and then the GM will just whip out a random one, and so that like he just doesn't remember anything about it by the time he finally sees it.
What an evil GM! Like,
Yeah.
or smart.
It's high school.
Yeah,
It's high school. Kids are like this.
that's true. That's true. Make me 40 mall interiors, okay? Yeah. Okay. All right. I guess I had one other big question is, Logan Bones, are the three of you friends in high school?
Ooh.
I mean, Bones and I were both sort of on the creative side, so we might be friends tangentially.
that.
Character is like the kind of person that is, at least like in high school, is like, you know how like friend groups tend to like have someone who's kind of there and they're happy just to be there, but they don't really do much in the group and you can't really figure them out.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think my character is that person.
Cool.
I like that.
That
So
sounds
the
so
three
maybe.
of us.
Yeah. So
Is it the
maybe
three of us? Do we have like an NPC student buddy to round us out, or is it just like
I
the
mean,
three of us gang?
you want to? We can make a ride along. Absolutely. Let's.
Be the missing
We want them to
person.
be like the super, like I don't want to say like the super straight one, but just like, just like, oh yeah, like I love being like, a field, like a field trip. Like they're like they got onto the soccer team, like as a, oh yeah, are we figuring like sophomore, juniors? Or do you want to
That's
like?
Yeah, I think
the
that's it.
middle grades.
Oh yeah, I'm sorry. Yeah, sorry, Logan. So do we want to do, because the grades are what, 9 through 12 year? So did you want to be like the last year before you do university and college? So you're like 17 or 18 years old?
It should be like right before finals week.
Oh, bro.
But none of us want to go back.
Yeah. Just put off finals. Just don't get back.
All right. It's finals week. I love this. What kind of terrible substitute teacher takes everyone on a field trip right before finals?
So
It was
we're gonna
Mr. We could have
de-stress
watched
us.
DVD. I had no idea.
And we were all like, DVD. And you're like, no, let's get outside.
Boring, Miss Frizzle.
Oh, sorry. I thought I heard some. All right. So it's the last year. So we're all like 17 to 18, sort of in that realm.
Yeah.
Not or in that area. Cool. Except for you, obviously, Teo. You're
Yeah.
late 20s, late
Let's say, like,
20s,
30.
38. Okay. All right.
Just went through a rough divorce.
Oh no. Still wearing the ring. So
Oh, and
No.
how does that could be. Could that be the object? That might be interesting. Something
Right.
to think about.
yeah. Again, yeah, we don't have to write every bit right here because it'll keep
Yeah,
something
yeah,
for the there. Yeah.
Like everything that takes us over is just something that has like a lot of really complicated, messy feelings associated with it.
I mean, yeah,
That makes sense.
absolutely. All right. So we got a bard, a sorcerer.
Oh, I just had a funny idea. So I was thinking if, my character has turned 18 maybe earlier in the year, maybe a bit older than the others, and like just had top surgery and, paid all this money for it and gone through recovery, crosses into the realm and like idealized body is flat. And he's like, I just paid all this money for this, and I got this for free. That would be fun.
Oh, it's beautiful.
Yep. We can totally do, yes.
Ooh, that would be
Yeah, and that's something the book actually mentions too. That like, yeah, you could be, yeah, you can have a pre-surgery version, or it could be your, you know, the idealized version that you want. So yeah, I love the idea of like you thinking about the money. No, okay.
yeah. That's something I would do.
Yeah, my dollars, my earth
On
money.
the other hand, your money's useless here.
Never leave. Yeah. All right. So if you had a fourth character, like a little, like a friend to go along with you, do you think it would be fun if they were a couple years younger than you? So like one of those students that like was going into college by the time they're like 14. So like,
oh yeah, what's accelerated.
Yeah. I mean, I know the substitute teacher's excited. I don't know if the students are. That's my question.
Like where you like
Yeah,
kind of
really
hate
excited.
them because they get better grades than you, but you also kind of like are super impressed.
They're also not going through all the same emotions as you, so they're just like they don't understand. Like what? Okay, like I don't know. That was just an idea. So I'm just thinking of voices to do. So no.
What about, just to throw it out, what about the alternative? What if you're older and you can't pass? You keep like failing back into the same grade. So it'd be like a super senior.
Super senior. So probably a jock then, who was allowed to to advance in the system so far without learning to. Yeah.
What if it's like another art person who's just like so laser focused on art that they just keep forgetting to do academics?
Mm-hmm. I like that.
Keeps forgetting to do that. Yeah.
The substitute
What kind of art
teacher
haven't we
that's,
touched
super
yet?
into history is just stuck with the art kids.
That's funny.
Yeah, maybe like a photographer or like a film artist or something.
Mm-hmm.
That could be cool.
Something that wouldn't work at all here. Yes. Because I was like, what about like set design for theater? But yeah, photographer or film artist. Yeah. So if we had like some, so they're sharing packs of smokes with the substitute teacher, you know, and
I'm trying to quit.
yeah, maybe sorcerer. Yeah, maybe if they have this sort of like self-discipline for art, like maybe they could possibly be like a monk from the Way of the Broken Sword, because they're known for getting things done but being sort of, as you said, laser focused. So kind of like letting everything else outside of that disappear and fade away.
They were also just like super into kung fu movies too.
Yes.
Have we been roped into any of their films?
For sure.
Oh no.
You're probably not even 100% sure this isn't one that they've set up, some elaborate like
I think I'd probably try to wriggle out of being in the films by like doing posters and promotional stuff, but I get pulled in anyway.
Yeah. Oh, Hot Dog Wizard from chat said, what if Kent, or, you know, substitute teacher TBD, had crossed before and is intentionally taking the students to the realm for some purpose? So.
Ooh, Darius, worst frizzle. I'm in.
Check out this field trip, guys.
Yeah. You went from sad frizzle to mad frizzle.
As like a warlock too, because that could be, the pact could be like, I bring children over to like, yeah.
Just hard
fun.
turn into Pan's Labyrinth territory.
Oh, God, yeah. Yeah. Teo, we're gonna have to talk outside of this a little bit, if that's, and figure out some actually
that
everyone we'll probably email a little bit outside of this as well, so we can flesh out some stuff that you can choose to reveal. I guess another thing that I like to do as a DM is like, and I'm sure you all do too as players, it's like your character has like one big question that they want answered that sort of everyone knows, but then like a question that they don't even know that they're asking. So it's sort of like, but as a player, or as the person that created them. So that way, if there's a way that we can like sort of seed some of the personal character arcs within the 3-week game, we can make it happen. So yeah, I'll send you a little player survey, which I now know will be geared towards high school. So and art. So yeah, I'll survey, ask you some questions. Yeah. All right, so we've got our like film artist of some kind. Yeah, I'm unsure if we want arcane artificer as them, possibly, because then they could use like a film camera as the source of their power.
Mm-hmm. That's a cool idea.
Or we could do the monk. Druid is in. I love playing druids. I'm sorry. I thought I heard somebody.
We have someone in our party that can take a hit.
Perhaps with the
like
stat building.
The first time it's sign of danger, we all just scatter immediately.
Just leave Mr. Substitute Teacher there. We just all run away.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I mean, it also depends on how we accept it. Like, is this even real? Is it a dream? Oh, there's danger. If I die, do I just wake up?
Yeah, I think you'll all probably deal with that.
I am scattering.
You'll probably all deal with that differently too. So like, yeah. But I could build our super senior as a strong, like I could load up some stats for them that gives them a little bit more strength and stuff. Yeah. So they just accidentally always get the good shots. So oops. They brute force it. Or yeah, we could again, I'm into like avoiding some conflict with, using what's around you. But yeah, again, I don't want to yeah. I'll come up with this little character on the side and send you information, but I don't want to like, lean too heavily on them. So that way you all have your fun that you get to do. So
yeah.
Yeah. Did anyone else have any other questions? So I don't want to keep you too much longer at the moment.
Well,
I guess,
as for stats, are we rolling, doing standard array?
Yeah, you could do standard array. Well, and then add on, stuff for your class and race.
I enjoy rolling. I just wanted to know if it was standardized between all of us.
Totally roll. I'm not gonna keep this fun from you. So, sorry, Kika, were you saying something? Are you stretching?
Since we're level 5, 4th level, should we feel free to dip into feats, or are we dipping to stats?
Definitely dip into some feats as well. And there are some in chapter 5 with the backgrounds.
Yep.
So, so like the writer Bones has a feature called Sing O Muses as an example. It's a fun one. And you tell stories, and you can influence each other, people with persuasion checks. So, but again, you don't have to choose that one necessarily. You could dip back into the old list of features from 5e as well. So, but I want to make sure.
I have a quick question that's not super. But are we gonna get in trouble if I make it where the stories the character tells is fan fiction, and so I'm like, oh, Kirk and Spock. Are we gonna get in trouble?
Get in trouble from who? The internet? No, absolutely. Oh my
okay,
God.
cool. I think that's the route I'm gonna go.
I mean, I will check with our Onyx Path overlords. Sure, yes, absolutely. I'll find it, but it's clearly parody, Bones. So no one's ever made fan fiction and created a multi-billion-dollar book and movie industry off of it about vampires.
It was all like Homestuck fan fiction, even.
You would do Homestuck, like
I'll do Homestuck fan fiction. My character can secretly write that.
I'd say, guess what? You can do fan fiction, Bones, as long as you every game prepare at least a little paragraph to give us a taste.
Okay.
So do some homework. Yeah. I mean, I'm just telling you now so that way, like, if I ask you that you or someone else asks you what you're reading in the game, like, you already have it ready and you don't have to, like, it'll help you get into character.
And just throw the concept of killing your darlings completely out the window. You're a teenager.
Yeah. Just get straight to smooching. Yeah. Yeah, just a general question for everyone here. It has nothing to do with the game. What have you written fan fiction about?
Naruto.
Right.
The only fan fiction I really have written was actually based off the Forgotten Realms novels.
Okay.
I don't think I've ever written fan fiction. I think I always was just like get inspired, and then I would just do my own stories.
Yeah, I don't think I've written any, but I've read a lot. Like, oh no, actually no, that's not true. I did write some Harry Potter OC stuff.
Yes.
Surprisingly good fan fiction out there.
I like to think that my Naruto fan fiction is amazing, but
I may have done some Sailor Moon, Gargoyles, and Ranma 1/2. So
yeah.
Jen.
Well, my very first comic was a Star Trek webcomic that I kept going for a while with my friends because we hated the 2009 movie so much that we created our own webcomic to fix it. But then now I watch it and I'm like, I love this movie. Why was I so angry?
What are you saying, Kika?
If Bones brings in their old Naruto fan fiction, do they get an inspiration for that?
Yes, they do.
Done.
I'm so excited for this.
I would also, absolutely. If anyone happens to find their old fan fiction, how would I know if it's old? Yeah. Except for Teo, sorry.
I don't have any.
It's you make a lot of good comics though, so like so you can roll for stats, and I'm also going to send you a high school survey or just some questions for you to fill out about your character. Short form. Sorry to send you homework, but like some stuff that people won't know. And I will also ask you within that about lines and veils. So if there's things that you're not comfortable with or you never want in a game, like please let me know. Doesn't matter how small, honestly. And also send the rest of the book. But yeah, for everyone else watching, you can get this manuscript over at the Onyx Path and check it out now, the PDF, as well as go Kickstarted over on Kickstarter. It's already over halfway there. I think they might have hit 10K by now. But yeah, so you're gonna like fill it full of beautiful art. The original comic was drawn by Guy Davis, who used to draw comics for like BPRD, and created all the monsters. We're on a Del Toro night. Created or designed the monsters in Pacific Rim. So yeah, I'm hoping. But yeah, to see. Yeah, I'm gonna go dig up some pages of that as well. Yeah, and with that, there will also see some descriptions of your characters as well. So there's multiple artists here, including myself. So probably want to draw some. So if you don't want your character drawn at all, you can also let me know. But yeah, no one is forced to draw here, I will say. So, but yeah. Any other questions or concerns? All right. Well, we should do outros, and you all need to get to bed because it's after curfew. We've got a couple more finals to get ready for. So I want to go in reverse order. And Bones, do you want to let people know where they can find you? Other projects that you're working on right now?
Okay, so you can find me on Twitter mainly at Bones K Leopard, and right now I'm actually working on a D&D based webcomic on my Patreon, which you can find through my Twitter, and I think my Patreon's also just Bones Leopard. But yeah, that's pretty much what I'm working on right now.
Awesome. Teo, do you want to go?
Oh yeah, sorry. You can follow me online at Teo_Acosta, and then you can follow Haunted Soup at Haunted Soup Pictures on Instagram or hauntedsoup.com.
Excellent. Logan?
Yep, I'm on Twitter a lot. You can find me at ink_and_stories. And the only thing I want to sort of promote today is my pinned tweet, which is a thread of different itch bundles, and all the proceeds go to like Black Lives Matter organizations like Reclaim the Block, Minnesota Freedom Fund, and a lot of other like bail fund projects.
That's awesome. All right, Kika?
Hi, I'm Kika. You can find me on Twitter at twitter.com/KikaVO and on Wandering GM's channel on Tuesdays and Thursdays for a Witcher game that I'm in on there, and a Magical Girl RPG game, respectively. And also you can find my 2-player single-page RPG about communication, where both players play as ghosts that cannot see or hear each other, so they have to find alternative means of communication, and that is itch.io/a-lonely-haunt, which I can just link in the chat quick.
That sounds gorgeous. So, yeah. My name is Jen Vaughn, and you can find me online at the Jenya, TheJenya. And I will be on Twitch again on Tuesday, twitch.tv/VVSpa. Running a game of Mothership with another group of players for the month of June, a little horror RPG fun. And you can also listen to my all-women podcast group, D20 Dames, anywhere where podcasts are free. And I think that's about it right now, other than obviously wash your hands, go to protests if you can, donate if you can, buy from Black-owned businesses, and go find one of the many, many lists of anti-racism books and start to unlearn and keep unlearning racism. So, oh, and also go support the Kickstarter for Onyx Path. So, yeah, thank you, Onyx Path. No, yeah, and go support Legendlore as well. But we will see you next week with no technical difficulties. Now that we've figured it out, very much everyone here is beautiful and perfect. So, yeah, and we will go get lost in the crossing next week. So, goodbye.